Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
Saw, but also I wanted to create basically like when I was younger, I used to read a lot of what was it, scary stories you can't read in the dark or something like. It's like a collage of scary stories. And growing up, I loved those books. And now as an adult, I feel like there hasn't been like an adult version of it. There's movies made and everything, but I feel like there isn't like one source where somebody is just collecting everyone's stories. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted this podcast to be a collection of normal people living normal lives with their extraordinary supernatural stories. That's what I wanted this podcast to be about. For a lot of people, I feel like the people that go out and seek them, like the Ghostbusters, the people that visit haunted houses, I feel like if you're going out and trying to see ghosts, you're most likely not going to see any. It's always like the unexpected sights, you at home by yourself, or let's say you're just out and about doing something randomly and then something happens, something catches your eye, or you're staying over at a friend's house and then maybe you see something in their basement. I was writing a book that I was going to publish on Amazon. I was going to call it Blue Tint because the book is about my astral projection adventures, in a sense, my experiences astral projecting at night. When I was a kid, I used to astral project every single night. And this story in particular was when I was about, I would say probably about 13, 14 at this time. I woke up in the middle of the night standing in my room. It's just like any other night. I close my eyes to go to sleep. I wake up, I open my eyes, I'm standing in the middle of my room and I'm wide awake. And I turn around and I see myself asleep. And this is like a clear sign of astral projection, in a sense. Like some people, there's certain ways you can achieve it. I've never once attempted to astral project. They just kind of happen. There's YouTube videos you can watch on how to astral project and methods that you can use to increase your chances of astral projecting. But that night I just woke up, was standing in the middle of the room. I went over, tried to flip on the lights didn't work. And keep in mind too, like I feel wide awake, everything, I can feel everything that I touch. I open the doors, they're there. Everything has a blue tint to it. That's how I like to describe the astral realm, in a sense. It's like, the astral realm, for people that don't know, they say it's like, it's another dimension that's strictly there for spirit. It's like a spiritual dimension. So it's overlaying our dimension right now, but it's a plane that only can be seen by spirits alike. So I walk into the hallway and I go into the bathroom. I look in the mirror, and obviously because I'm astral projecting, I don't see my reflection, because the whole theory behind astral projection is when your soul leaves your body, and your body is technically the vessel and your soul is what powers it, in a sense. And so I was astral projecting, my soul wasn't in my body. I go in the bathroom, no reflection, not at all. I put my hand on the mirror and everything, can't see myself. And up until that date, I remember growing up in the same house, I was always afraid of my parents' walk-in closet for some reason. Like something about that walk-in closet and the bathroom, the master bathroom, just creeped me out. Like I had these dreams of it where like I would wake up and I'm just sitting in front of the bathroom and it's just an open door and it's just pitch darkness. And that night, I'm walking around my house not knowing what's really going on. I just came out the bathroom, didn't see my reflection. I started to hear crying, and like a little girl's cry, So I follow the crying and it leads me to my parents' master bathroom. The door's open, I go inside, and the whole bathroom seems pretty lit up because it's a full moon that night and the light was coming in from the bathroom window. And so the whole bathroom was really lit, and it was like a moonlight chandelier, in a sense. The reflection was everywhere. It was really bright. The crying got louder, and then I got closer and closer, and I started to realize that the crying was coming from the walk-in closet. And I opened the walk-in closet. To my surprise, in the corner of the walk-in closet, there's like this little girl, blonde platinum hair, kind of curled up in the corner, and she was crying. She was like in this white dress it was kind of like a rose ceremony, like the little girls that pass the rose petal girls at weddings kind of thing, like one of those dresses, but it was all white and it was kind of like glittery. And she just kept crying. And then when I opened the door, she kind of got up and she kind of like walked towards me with her head still in her hand, like, still bawling out. And for some reason, like, normally you see that, you'd be terrified.
Yeah.
That's like the standard cliche horror movie, little girl in a white nightgown, kind of thing. But for some reason, I had no fear in me at that moment. It was really strange. And she just kept walking towards me, and I just kind of stood there until she was like right in front of me. Her face is still in her hands, crying, and something told me to like give her a hug. This girl, like, up until now has just been crying in my face, and I give her a hug, and she just kind of dissipates in a sense. She turned into like a sparkly little dust, and she just kind of floated off into the window. And I tell that story to some people, and they think like, oh, like, like you set her free in a sense. That's what I believe too. I don't know what it was, but I felt like something was keeping her trapped, and I was able to set her free. I don't know how, but just something simple like that. People don't really realize. A lot of people, they're put in that same situation, they get terrified, or they might just walk away. But for some reason, that at that moment, I just didn't have a drop of fear in me, and something was telling me to go to her in a sense. And then after that happened, I was never afraid of my parents like walk in master bathroom ever again. For some reason, like, I walk in there now, I don't have the same feeling. Like before, when I walked in, I felt like something was watching me, and it's to my belief that maybe she was watching me the whole time from the walk-in closet. I don't know, but she's gone now, and I don't have that like feeling that I'm being watched every time I'm in that bathroom, which is flickering lights. But yeah, Hey Tasha.
Hello.
So I gotta start things off real quick. Do you believe in ghosts?
I believe in spirits.
Okay.
Yeah, I do definitely believe that there's an energy that you could feel it. Just trust. I know that for sure. I believe in that because of my experience. But yeah, I believe in spirit.
What experiences have you had?
I haven't had many. I've only had really one, and that's when my mom passed away. And I remember, well, I'll go back again. Before she passed away, she would always say, how would she say it? That you'll feel. She would always look for her mom. Like when her mom passed away, she would like, I want to know where she's at and I want to feel her. She felt her, and I'm like, okay. So when my mom passed away, I remember at the church, we were at church, and they were acknowledging that she had passed away, and I stood up, and I know it may sound cheesy, but it was this bright light just came from right at the ceiling, and I'm like, and everybody, at that point, everybody was praying because they were all praying for me, so everybody's head was down. Mine was the only one that was up, like I'm literally having a conversation. And I look at that bright light, and the next thing I know, she's standing beside me. And she looked beautiful. She was in white. I know that sounds crazy, like everybody's in white. Mm-hmm. No, she was actually in white.
But you saw her.
I saw her, and I looked at her, and I was like, I didn't say anything. And then she said, because she passed away from a stroke, and the doctor had said that she probably just had a headache and just went unconscious. She stood there and she said, I don't know what that doctor's talking about. She said, I didn't feel anything. I don't remember anything. And then she went on to say that she was okay. And I remember just holding her hand. And she looked so at peace. She looked so beautiful. Not like the, what life gives you, like how it dishes you, make you look stressed. She didn't look that at all. So when we were at the altar, praying, I looked down at her, and she just had her eyes closed, and she was just smiling. She was happy. And then the next thing you know, she was gone.
Wow. Now, did that carry on to any dreams after her passing?
I would see her from time to time. She would come in my dreams, too. So the way she said it, how she was like, she knew she may be leaving this world one day, is that she would see her mom get on a bus, right? Her mom, by the way, has already passed away. And I was like, well, Mama, did you get on the bus with her? She said, no, each time I would never get on the bus. Okay? So this past time when she, probably 2 weeks before she passed away, she said, I saw Mama again. And I said, okay. I said, did you get on the bus? She said, I don't remember. So that's how she passed. So now when I see her in my dreams, I'm driving, but she never gets in the car. Or she'll be driving, and I'm like trying to find her, like, well, where are you getting ready to go? But she would disappear. So it ain't my time to go yet.
That's right.
I'm still here.
You know, in a lot of Asian countries, one thing we all do is after a funeral, none of us go straight home. We usually have like a big funeral after party kind of thing, or like an offering dinner kind of thing, and everyone just kind of meets up after the funeral. We have dinner and everything, we chit chat, we drink, and then everyone goes their separate ways from that location. And the reasoning for that is because we believe that, you know, when you're exposed to certain locations like graveyards or like hospitals where there's a lot of death, in our belief there's spirits basically lingering around those areas just waiting, and they'll follow you kind of thing. So that's why after a funeral we're not allowed to go directly home. So like literally, like when my grandfather passed, we had a big after party kind of thing for him, and we all went our separate ways. Same thing when I before he passed, I visited him in the ER, and we literally like went to like 2 different supermarkets before we went home. And I was just kind of like, this is kind of extra. And then, you know, my parents and were like, is it? Do you want to get followed by a spirit, you know, kind of thing? And the belief is where there's death, there's always those lingering spirits, because like the way it was explained to me, I met this priest one day, and she explained a lot of stuff to me. She basically said a lot of these spirits, like the ghosts and the demons that some people may see or hear about, you got to think of it as like as we're all like iPhone batteries in a sense. These ghosts and spirits, they're on 1, 2, 3% battery, barely hanging on to life, and they're just hanging on kind of thing, doing whatever it takes for just a slither of life kind of thing. And you and I, as living human beings, we're basically at 100% at all times. And then the stress, you know, work and everything, sickness can bring your energy levels down, you know, but you're never going to be like, you know, as low as a spirit.
Right.
And, you know, you hear those stories of people that technically passed away, but they were brought back to life. Yeah. And then they were brought back speaking a different language, or they seem like a completely different person.
Right.
You know, half those times, technically, if you think about it, it could have been another spirit jumping back in that body.
I can believe that.
Because the way I see it is like when you have someone on their deathbed, imagine you have like 6, 7 other spirits surrounding them at all times that you and I can't see, but they're just waiting. They're waiting because the moment that person passes, guess what? The doctors and the nurses are going to try to bring that person back. When that person passes, in Buddhism, once your heart stops, like your soul will leave the vessel kind of thing.
Right.
And once that soul leaves the vessel, it leaves it open because the doctors and nurses are going to bring that person back to life, or going to try to. These other spirits are like, I'm going to have like a slight taste of life again kind of thing. So that's why we have this belief that you cannot go straight home, because you're going to show the spirits where you live.
That's incredible.
So that's why a lot of Asian people, we share a lot of, like, I've come to realize a lot of Asian, like Chinese, Japanese, Korean, like a lot of them have similar beliefs when it comes to spirits and stuff. Like when my grandfather passed, they say a week after family members can see the past relative kind of thing. A week after my grandfather passed, I saw him in a dream, and in my dream, we were in an open sand plain. It was just like nothing but sand, and then there was one Zen tree just in the middle of nowhere, and he was standing, you know, like a traditional Asian man, like with his arms behind his back kind of thing.
Yeah, how they walk, I love that.
Yep, looking out into the distance, and then I saw him, and he kind of turned back and gave me a little nod, and then like I tried to walk up to him, but he kept like going further and further. I couldn't reach him. But you know, in the Asian culture, they say if you see your relative in a dream after they passed, within that week, if they're laughing at you in the dream, that means that they could potentially haunt you. Because if they're laughing at you and pointing at you and stuff, that means they're like, oh, like I know what you did, or I know you were bad mouthing me kind of thing, like, you know, disrespecting me on my grave kind of thing.
Right.
That's what it means. I'm like, whoa, really? And then if you see them crying or they're sad, it typically means that they're sad, they're leaving you, and they're passing, but ultimately they're happy.
I love that.
So
I like that.
Yeah. So in your dreams, did your mother seem sad that she was leaving you kind of thing? But she just seemed at peace,
she
right?
She was okay. Like, I'm okay.
That was like my grandfather. He was just like, no real expression.
No,
just,
nothing.
But
She
you
was
knew.
fine.
But you knew.
I felt it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. Because I remember when she passed away, I believe I saw her spirit, like at her gravesite. But it wasn't in the dress that I had her in. She was in white. And I was like, I don't want to leave her. You know, she was just there by her grave, just there. And I'm like, I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And I think I stayed there for an hour or so until I knew she wasn't around anymore. Same way when you talk about being on your deathbed, right, and the spirits around. My sister-in-law, who passed away from cancer, she saw her grandmother. We were in the room with her, and everybody thought she's hallucinating. You know, I didn't believe that. I believed that she really did see them. It was her grandmother, their old dog Snoopy, and maybe one more person. And she was saying something to them. And we were like, what are you saying? Because she was like, I'm kind of tired. And we were like, well, that's okay. You know, we'll be here. You can go to sleep. She's like, I'm just joking. I'm joking. No, she said, I'm scared. And I said, well, what are you scared of? She said, because, you know, what if I wake up? I said, it's okay. You're going to be okay. Yeah. And she said, I'm just playing. And I'm like, okay. And then she went on to sleep. When we left, and I said, I'll be here tomorrow. And I literally tell you, but I saw her grandmother like standing at the door. We didn't see anything, but she was saying that. And so, like an hour later, they called and said she passed away. Wow. So I think they were there to bring her home, to greet her. Because I remember when we had to put her in hospice. These are her words. She's like, you better not leave me here or that'll be fucked up. I'm like, girl, we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to be with you. You know what I mean? And I think it was like she didn't want us to leave her alone. Like, we want to see her all the way till she gets to the next home, if you will. And so we kept that promise. We were there every day, you know, and then to her very last day. And so I felt like we did our job. We stayed with her until the end. And then her grandmother came and got her and took her on. So that is real. That stuff it's real.
I mean, you think about like a lot of the religions out there and stuff. They all basically combat one problem. That problem is the one thing we're all promised at birth, and that is death. That is the one thing we are all promised on this earth is death. You know, and that's what it is with all these. They're trying to ease people's minds that when the time comes, like, you have your faith, you know where you're going, kind of thing. Because that's a scary thought, to be on your deathbed and have absolutely no idea clue. And no support, nothing, no idea what's going to happen. That's probably the scary. That's why people, when they get to near death or life situations, they have, they come out of it and they find God, or they find religion somehow.
The whole different life changes. Everything about them is like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I get it. It's real.
I think, I think it's crazy now. It's like now more than ever you have people with these stories. I feel like a lot of average people have like these crazy stories. That's why I wanted to do this whole podcast, because the annoying kid when you go to like a family gathering, you got the annoying kid that's like, you got game, you got games, you got games.
I have several of those.
You got games
and nephews that do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be that annoying kid that like, you got scary stories.
I can believe that too.
Yeah.
I can believe you doing that.
I'm gonna go up to I've been doing that here at the gym. I've been going up to people, I'm like, hey, and then we're just talking about random stuff, and then I hit them with the random, hey, so you got some scary stories by any chance?
He's like that. I can see you doing that. You do it with crypto, so I know you're gonna do it with this.
Yeah, I feel like it's really interesting. It's always something that's always interested me because of my family and how I grew up, but also because of the things and experiences I've seen. Yeah. And that's why I was writing a whole book on it. Each chapter was a different ghost story that I experienced, or some experience that I had. But then I really thought about it. I was like, if I was writing a book and I published it on Amazon, like, what are the chances I'm going to get someone to sit down and read the whole book?
It's a good chance, though.
But it's hard. It's definitely hard, and I feel like in this day and age, people would rather get Audible, or why not?
I'll go to sleep on the Audible.
Why not hop on a podcast and then just listen to people talk about it? So
I'd rather watch y'all talk. Yeah, I like that. I like a podcast.
Yeah.
More than Audible. I'll go to bed on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we have Chris and Tamara here today.
Yes.
So Chris, you and I have spoken directly about some of your experience and stuff.
Yeah.
What are some experiences you had?
Man, that's why I said we need to do a podcast with just me
Yeah.
one day, because it's, man, like my whole life.
Yep.
You know, I grew up in I guess you would say a haunted house, something like that. It was whatever you want to call it. So from a child, man, I've always been seeing apparitions, suffered a lot of sleep paralysis, and I realized that it was the house because as soon as I moved out of that house, nothing, bro. It's
all
everything
went.
I've seen, every experience was in that house. And it's funny because my house, like during high school and everything, people was like, "Oh, they say there's ghosts at your house." I don't believe it. So we'd have a lot of friends sleep over. I know you remember back in the day too.
Your
Everyone
dad still lives in that
yeah,
house.
everyone used to be coming. Like my house was the spot, so they sleep over. They would be like, "Oh yeah, I heard there's ghosts in here. I don't believe in ghosts. You know, this ain't real."
Yep.
Next thing you know, something happens. They wake up the next morning like, "Yo, I ain't never coming back to your house." You know what I mean?
What were some of the things they were seeing?
So are you familiar with like shadow people? So it was a lot of that. It was a lot of sleep paralysis. They would see a kid, like a white apparition of a kid, an old lady, the Hat Man, which is like the very tall shadow person. That was the one that used to be scaring people all over.
I saw that when I was a kid.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
It's crazy when you look into it, and it's like everyone saw the same thing.
exactly, bro.
With the hat. It was
Yep.
it's the weirdest
Because
thing.
I went, like growing up, I didn't know what to call it. You know what I mean? I was just like, it's a ghost. You know what I mean? It's a ghost. And then everyone in my house was like, yeah. At one point, we saw it. And then the older I got, I started researching. My problem, I think, my thing was, I kind of gave life to the paranormal stuff going on in my house because I was so obsessed with finding out what it was. I'd be doing research. I'd be buying books, and like, I feel like I opened something or just gave it more power, you
Yep.
know, like that. So that's why I was very careful with it. Like nowadays, I wouldn't even research shadow people because like I just don't want to
You feel like
relive that.
You
You
feel
know
like
what I
you're
mean?
giving energy to them.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. Like my mom and dad, they used to have priests come bless the house all the time. The priest would be scared. Like it'd be crazy, bro. Crazy stuff.
Taking
man.
holy water baths. and
Yeah,
stuff.
bro, stuff like that. You know.
So, when you had sleep paralysis, did you ever see anything?
Yeah. So I know a lot of people have sleep paralysis. They don't see anything. But with research, a lot of people see the same things. Like they'll see. I remember. I woke up in the middle of the night. I couldn't move, but there was like probably like 4 or 5 shadows standing around me, like just looking over me. Like my room was pitch black, but they were darker than black. Like you could tell, like there was like, yo, this is something different, and like you sense that fear, like everything's closing in. And for me, what used to help me snap out of it, I'd be praying in my mind. I pray. As soon as I pray, like everything just, and then like I kind of wake up, like, hold on, was that a dream? What was this? You know what I mean? And then I started researching it, and it turns out this sleep paralysis is very common.
Yeah.
I know you said you've had experiences.
I've had a
with
lot
that.
of episodes of sleep paralysis.
And every time you had sleep paralysis, you saw something?
Yeah, I actually, like my very first time I remember was actually when I was in Bosnia. And I don't remember much when I was in Bosnia because I moved here when I was little. But I remember one moment, I was sleeping with my grandma, and I just felt something like come on my chest, like just holding me down, and I kept trying to wake up and I couldn't. And I was trying to wake my grandma up, but I just couldn't move. And I just saw like this dark like woman, like a figure, and it had like long hair. I've actually saw that twice. Once when I was in Bosnia, and then when I was in middle school. But I would just, it would happen to me a lot, and I just thought it was normal. Like,
Do they ever say anything to you? No?
Nah, but I've always sensed a lot of fear every time.
Yeah.
It's not friendly.
Yep.
It's not friendly at all.
I've had one where I didn't know, like, she said something, but I didn't know, like, if when I woke up, like when I fully woke up and stuff, I was just like, was that a dream, or like what was that? Like I didn't know, you know. But it wasn't like Chris when Chris said something about he started praying. His wife actually told me that when this happens to you, start to pray, you know, and then it'll just go away. So I started to like pray, and I heard her say something, and then it just like vanished, like it just like, yeah.
7 days.
No, but it would happen to me so much. Like it actually happened to me on a road trip in the car one time.
Oh nah. Oh
yeah,
no.
I was in the car. Yeah, I was in the car. I was heading to Florida with my family, and it happened to me in the car. Like,
But
I just like
did you see
dozed off.
anything in the car, or were you just frozen? Basically?
I was just like frozen, and something was just like
'Cause,
holding me
you
down. And I
know-
kept trying to like grab like my mom that was sitting next to me, like
Yep.
you know, but I couldn't like, and I for the longest time I was like, oh, this is just because of stress, like you know, you deal with like stress or anxieties of your life or whatever, and it causes this to happen. But
Back then, I was
yeah.
like obsessed with like scary movies, paranormal movies. So I thought I was like, oh, it's just a figment of my imagination.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then you start researching, and turns out everything is real. And there's videos now on YouTube where you see, I see the same thing that I saw in the
Yep.
YouTube
Yeah.
videos. It's
Crazy.
pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, I've had sleep paralysis probably under 10 times, and every time I've had it, I've never seen anything.
Oh man,
But it's like
you're lucky.
It's like I don't see anything, but sometimes I hear like whispering, like it's like
Ooh, I just got the chills.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that's all I hear. And my thing is like I snap out of it because like my fingers are double jointed, and like I literally like tense up, my fingers go like this, and one of them eventually just pops.
And
As
that's snaps you out of it.
soon as it pops, the rest of them pop, and then I gain control of my hand, and then I slowly kind of like wake up from
Yeah.
that.
I see.
I've probably woken up from sleep paralysis probably like 5 out of the 10 times kind of thing because of that, and I haven't had it for like years now, but it's always like random times I have it.
Yeah, I haven't had it, thank God.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
haven't had it
good.
Never?
anytime. After
No.
I moved out of
Oh,
the
after
house,
you moved?
yeah, no, I haven't had it at all.
I had a cousin like that. He said he used to have sleep paralysis all the time when he was in China, and then he moved to my house, and he stayed with us for like a couple months. And I asked him like, "Have you had sleep paralysis at your stay, like during your stay?" And he was like, "No, I haven't had it since I moved to America." So
nice.
maybe it was where he was staying.
Yeah.
you know, kind of thing.
That's what I think was like,
You guys are
to get even deeper into it.
like.
No.
Like, I have witnesses about this too. So
Oh, you got witnesses.
at my dad's house, the reason I say the house was haunted, bro, was because we don't know what happened. Somebody must have pissed off the wrong person in my family, you know what I mean? And
Yep.
must have got into something. So my dad has a wooden bridge that he laid down like probably 20 years ago. And my dad is the type of person, when he builds something, he's going to make sure no one's going to be able to unbuild it. You know what I mean? So it's a wooden bridge. As soon as you walk into my house, he cemented it, drilled it in like crazy. Boom, boom, boom. It's like 12 different plywood, so it's long. One day my dad was remodeling everything. Mind you, it's cemented, bro. Like,
Yeah.
in order when he was remodeling, he had to pick and everything, had to chip at it. My dad has a blue handkerchief that he uses for sweat. That, for years, since I was a kid, he's always had a blue handkerchief. Boom, boom, boom. They pop it open, boom. They move the plywood over. There's like a symbol with red markings on it, and he's just like, "What the hell? Like, I ain't buy it like this."
Yeah.
Popped the other one open, another symbol. Popped it open, boom. Started digging with the pick into the cement. There was a blue rag of his, clothes like this with chicken bones burnt in it.
Oh my god.
That's some voodoo magic right
exactly,
there. Yeah.
Exactly. So what we think is, it was his handkerchief. So I don't know what he did, Dad. I don't know what you did, man, but you pissed somebody off.
So like you think like at night after he laid down the foundation, someone came in?
I don't
and
know,
just-
bro, because you would need some like power tools, and we would wake
Yeah.
up. That's why it was so like
So
unreal.
So the concrete was already like dry.
Concrete
It was
dry.
It was
bro.
dry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I didn't understand, man. So it was It blew our mind, but you know, we're Spanish. We're very superstitious. So
Yeah.
he's superstitious too. He grabbed everything, put it in a barrel, lit it on fire, and don't look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just like turn around and forget about it. So
Yeah.
that didn't help. that didn't help. Nah. And
Yeah.
it was just crazy, man. It was crazy experiences over there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I used to have so many people over my house, and at one point everybody
Experience.
They-
experienced
something.
something, almost the same thing. you
Yeah.
know?
We were always so drunk at his house when we were so young, so I don't think I remember anything.
No, I think really the scariest thing is like once I had sleep paralysis, I used to see the shadow people, the Hat Man specifically. He's like 7 feet. He's like in a cloak. I remember the first time I saw him in my house. I was like 7 years old. My dad has a hallway that's like a corridor. So I was on my scooter. That's how old I was. I had scooters. I was inside the house.
Yeah.
I turned the corner. I looked this way, and he's like, I just see a 7-foot figure standing over the door, and he had a cloak on, and he turns around, and his cape just swings it, and then just vanishes.
Yeah.
That was the first time I seen that.
It was like Batman.
Yeah, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Like,
And
I'm
I
out.
told my mom. My
Yeah.
mom I was like 7 years old, so she was like, "Nah, don't worry, you're just seeing things." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Started experiencing sleep paralysis. I see the same figure, and then it got real when I started seeing the same figure, just not while I was sleeping. Like, you know what I mean? Like out of the corner of my eye while I was seeing him. You know what I mean? So it was crazy, man.
I was 7 years old too when I first saw like
For real?
the tall man with like a cape, and I thought I was just like, the first time I saw that, I thought I was just like tripping or seeing stuff, like you know, like as a kid you're just like whatever. I actually never told my parents about that, but then I would like consistently see at night when I was trying to sleep, like it was just like in the corner.
Yeah,
you know,
I
of the
feel like
room.
at one point everybody in life has seen something,
Yeah.
and they
Yep.
just try to like, I'm tripping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they say like, you know, they say like spirits are around us at all times. It's like another dimension
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
a sense that we can't see into. And that's gonna take me back to my story.
Yeah.
So like where my spiritual, I guess my spiritual origin story started. When me and my brother were born, we were born in America, but my parents weren't like, they didn't expect twins, first of all.
Oh, wow.
And then second of all, they just didn't have the money for either of us, you know,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So we were sent back to China, and we were raised on the same farm that my dad grew up on. And it was like, my family was a group of small subsistence farmers in China. So like they just grew what they ate, you know, kind of thing. They didn't really make much money off of it. They sold the surplus at the market kind of thing. So me and my brother were like, you know, not even a year old, sent back to China. We were raised on this farm in the middle of like the countryside by the South China Sea and everything. And every night when I went to sleep, I had like, to this day, I still remember it. Every night I would go to sleep and I would wake up in the middle of the night with like these faces around me. Like it would start, I would wake up and I'm either standing on my bed or just looking up, and then this mist would come up from all around my bed, and like these faces would form.
Wow.
And it's like all you see is like the eye sockets in the mouth, and there's just like,
Oh my god.
and like I saw that
Crazy.
I saw that like every single night when
Wow.
I was in China.
Did you tell anyone?
No, and part of it was because like it scared me, but I feel like I did mention it to like our nannies and stuff, or my grandmother or my grandfather, but I feel like they just kind of brushed it off like it's
Of course,
nothing.
yeah.
But you know, a lot of Asian people do believe in spirits and stuff like that, so they're probably just like, oh, we have a shrine in the house, like you're fine, you're protected, nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
But every night when I went to sleep, I saw these faces. And then one night I woke up and there was no faces. There was no fog at all. And I woke up standing on my bed. And then that's when I realized, I turned back down and there was someone else in the bed. It was myself. I saw myself asleep, but I'm like wide awake standing
What,
on my
Like
bed.
lucid dreaming.
Lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
What's
So
it called? Outer body experiences.
It's astral projection.
Astral projection. That's what it is.
Lucid dreaming is when you wake up in a dream and you know it's a dream. Astral projection is like it's
Your
when your
soul
it's-
comes out the body,
Yeah,
basically.
it's when your soul separates from your body, which is the vessel. And lucid, like some people get it mixed up all the time, or some people that attempt to astral project end up lucid dreaming kind of thing. In my case, I've never once tried to astral project or lucid dream. Every time they just kind of happen. I feel like they happen for a reason.
I've
There's
tried
something
once.
they're trying to show me.
On shrooms.
How did that go?
That's the first time I did shrooms, man.
Yeah.
Like I just remember I closed my eyes and I opened my eyes and I'm looking down at myself on the couch and
Yeah.
like I just analyzed everything about myself, and then like I just came back to it and I was like, oh, that shit was crazy. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm tripping, yo, I'm tripping.
So that night I woke up. There's no fog. I felt no fear. You know, there was no faces for the first time in like
That's what I was gonna ask
many
you.
years.
So when you saw those faces, were they like menacing? Like, did you feel like
I felt scared. Like
Scared.
So it wasn't like
you felt like
it
it
wasn't-
wasn't good.
it
It
wasn't
wasn't
good.
that they were just like looking at you. They came to scare
Yeah,
you, basically.
it started with just like a cloud of fog and like one or two faces, but as time progressed, it got to like hundreds of faces. Like I would wake up and I felt like I was just like in hell kind of thing.
Oh my
Like there's
God.
just like
Yeah.
faces everywhere kind of thing, and they're every like you see like it's like you look at a dog that just had a litter and you see like one puppy, you know, and you ever
Yeah.
seen a dog with like 20 litters? Like it's like a cluster. It's like I woke up and it was a cluster of faces
That's
everywhere.
crazy.
And it just got worse and worse, and I got to a point where I just kind of like, oh, I'm going to sleep, here it goes, you know, kind of thing.
Was it like all different type of faces? Or?
It was always like you could tell it was like men and women's faces, but again, like no nose, just eye socket in the mouth, but they came in different shapes kind of thing. And it was just like you only could see them when they were pushing through the fog.
Now, was this back home or here?
This was in the countryside of China.
China. Okay. So
Yeah.
was it Oriental faces?
No, you couldn't really tell. Like, it was just like, yeah. It was like, I mean, everyone's eyes
Theo Von moment just now. Was it Asian faces or was it a Hispanic guy or what?
I don't think you could tell based off of somebody's eye socket, you know. But
you just knew it was a face.
Yeah, I just knew they were just like, it was like just skulls coming out kind of thing, of the eye socket in the mouth. And then that one night I woke up and there was no sight of them, no fog at all. And then that was also the night I realized I was in the bed too, kind of thing. Like I'm like, I can see myself sleeping. But how this room is set up, so you got the bed in the middle, and on the left side of it is the door to the hallway that connects it to the living room, the rest of the house. Mm-hmm. On the right, on the opposite side of it, there was a door to the balcony, and it was like a screen door. And basically that night, no fog faces. I get out of my bed because there's like the moonlight. It must have been a full moon or something, but the light was so heavy and it came straight in. Mm-hmm. So it was like all this light coming through the screen doors. I walk to the screen doors and I look outside onto the balcony, and what I saw, it's supposed to be just ocean. It's supposed to be just the South China Sea, and that's all you see. Mm-hmm. And that night in particular, I saw those skinny Asian mountains that you see like in Avatar and stuff. Yeah. I saw one just in the middle of the ocean, just sticking up, and at the top of it there was a little Zen tree, just like a little shrub that stuck off. Mm-hmm. And I'm just standing outside looking at this thing. I'm like, well, this is not supposed to be here.
Yeah. So it's never been there.
It's not supposed to. It's supposed to be just ocean when you look out. Mm-hmm. But that night in particular, that whatever, astral projecting or not.
So you looked at the ocean while you were astral projecting, basically.
Yeah, and I'm looking out.
You feel like you were in a different dimension?
I felt like I was in the spiritual plane at that time. Yeah. Because when I looked out and I see this mountain, right, I see something twinkle at the top of the mountain, and then I see it fall. And right before it hits the ground, like it hits the water, it flies up, and then I realize what it was, and I see it slither away. And what I had seen as a child, I was about like 4 or 5 at the time, I basically saw a traditional celestial dragon.
Tell me about this, yeah.
And in Chinese mythology, they say, like some traditional Chinese people believe that Chinese people are descendants of dragons. And it's a myth that children see dragons growing up because children are pure and they're innocent.
Yeah.
So you don't see a dragon by chance. It's like they know you see them, kind of thing. They don't
reveal themselves to you.
Yeah, they reveal themselves to you, and it's supposed to be like an eternal blessing in a sense. And I remember what was crazy was I didn't tell nobody about that. I just kind of, after 5, we ended up moving back to America and everything. My dad had established his businesses and everything. So we moved back, didn't really say much about it. The ghost faces didn't follow me, kind of thing. I was just like, oh, whatever. It wasn't until I was like in my teenage years, like 12, 13, my grandmother passed, right? And we couldn't see her for some reason. She passed in China. So they sent over a funeral tape. And in the funeral tape, the beginning of it, it started off with this really crappy CGI golden dragon, like flying, like, and I just remember as a kid, we're watching it with the family, and I was like, oh, I saw that. And my mom was like,
what?
What are you talking about?
You didn't tell me before.
So, what are you talking about? And then I explained to her the story about before I came to America. That's what I saw, and both her and my dad were both just like,
that's crazy.
You're blessed.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like it's a blessing.
Did your brother see it? Or?
So this is the creepy part, right? When I'm explaining to my parents this story, right, and they're like, "Oh, you're blessed." My brother comes out of nowhere and he's like, "I saw the same thing." Mm-hmm. But then
he's like, "Bro, I'm blessed too, man."
but here's the twist. He was like, "I saw the same thing," but he was like, "But from my view," he was like, I was standing right behind you."
Oh.
And he was like almost like floating, kind of like looking over your shoulder.
Bro.
And I was like, you had a vision, or you had a experience astral projection or not, or you were behind me while I did he's like, yeah, I saw you get out the bed and go to the balcony and look out the door. And then this is all coming out, like 10 years after this happened. Yeah. And none of us said this to each of us. Like we didn't say anything to each other. And it only came out because my grandmother had passed. And that's why I was like, yo, that's some mad creepiness,
Yeah.
But there's been multiple situations in my life where like I should have died and I survived, kind of thing. Like numerous occasions, like one time I was in a city and it was a rainy day. My roommate's car ran out of gas in the middle of Midtown, and we jump out where it's raining. We run to the nearest gas station to buy some gas, right? As soon as I get to the gas station, he's ahead of me, so he already went in, and I'm like, you know, catching up. I'm right by the entrance, and I just walked in. I'm like, oh, I'm in the parking lot now. I'm good. Yeah. Out of nowhere, this homeless guy comes up, grabs me, pulls me to the side, and this car comes out of nowhere.
Whoa, that's
and
bizarre.
If he hadn't done, I would have been hit straight on by
after
that.
Did you see the homeless man again?
After that, I told a homeless guy, I'm like, yo, go in the gas station, whatever you want. No cigarettes, I'm paying for it. Like, whatever you want.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then this man went in, I spent like $20 on what he wanted. He didn't say a word to me.
Wow.
And then he just kind of like, you know, got his stuff, got water, chips and stuff, and then he just, I told him like, thank you, and he didn't say anything to me.
He's probably like an angel.
Guardian
like
angel.
He didn't
yeah.
say a single word to me, but
Wow.
like literally like seconds later, I would have been hit directly by that car.
That's insane, yeah.
And another time, during college, we were driving. My roommate was driving. I had passed out because it was finals week, and we probably didn't sleep for like 18, 20 hours kind of thing, studying and stuff. And we were driving to my parents' place to take like a nap. Like both of us were like, yo, it's nap time. Like we've been studying way too hard. We got to crash and take some nap. I fall asleep in the passenger seat, and something like out of nowhere I heard, Chase. And I just opened my eyes. We're headed off a bridge. Like we're already crossed the dotted line. We're headed off the bridge of the interstate on Pleasant Hill, Pleasant Hill to 85 kind of thing. Yeah. We're headed off that bridge, and I look over. My roommate who's driving is like this. He's knocked out, and that like I just so happened to wake up. I grabbed the steering wheel, I jerked him back, and I smack him on the chest, and he wakes up, and I'm like, yo, pull over.
That's crazy.
He pulls over. We swap. I'm the driver now. I drive the rest of the way, and he just knocks out, kind of thing. But like literally, if I didn't wake up, we would have gone right off that bridge.
Came off at 85.
Yeah, and I don't like. I can't explain it. Like literally, like I was knocked out cold, and all of a sudden I heard Chase. Like, and I'm just like, man, why are you whispering in my ear for?
Yeah.
I had a similar experience like that too, man. So like, long story short, this was I must have been like 18. It was me. 5 homeboys. Long story short, we got in a brawl with somebody, you know what I mean? And then, you know, we doing our thing. I'm in the middle of fight mode, you know, we fighting, everybody fighting. I hear somebody say something. I hear something whisper, like, kind of like I heard it in my head, kind of. It said, jump. I jump back. There's a knife this big coming this way.
Oh.
Yeah, and then like, you know, long story short, we whooped their ass, man. And then, while you know, after a fight, you kind of sit with the boys. You like, yo, that was crazy. So I was like, yo, which one of y'all told me to jump? And they're like, what you mean, bro? We was all handling our business. We ain't like no one said nothing. I was like, nobody told me to jump.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. So I heard that. I still hear that voice. They said jump. Oh, that knife came by, and I was like, oh my god, yo. Oh, that's my guardian angel right there, man.
Something was
real.
looking out for you, for sure.
Yeah, man. I know my guardian angel looking at me like this back then. Now I'm good. I'm right with God. I'm right with God.
You had him stressed
out. But back then, they was like, damn. Yeah, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. So did you have any experiences where you felt like a miracle happened or something saved you?
There was an accident with my dad that if the car would have collided straight onto me, I would not have been here. Basically, we were at an intersection, and it was we were at the red light, and when the light turned green, I was napping actually. Like I was like taking a nap. My dad was taking me to work. I was like 16 or something, and we were about to pass the red light, pass the green light, and this car is going like probably like 70 miles an hour, like on this small on our road, on Williams Road.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I just like woke up from my sleep, and my dad just slams the brake, and this car just barely come like this and swerves off into the bushes.
So he didn't even touch your car?
It didn't even touch us.
Wow.
But I don't know why I woke up and I gasped. Like I've had like a couple instances like where, you know, when you kind of like dream of something and then you wake up and then it
happened.
Yeah, it's actually going on.
Like premonition or deja vu.
Yeah, it happened to me like a couple times before, but that time my dad was so shooken up because if that car would have hit me, like we probably would have. It would have been bad. Like we probably would not have been here. He got so angry. My dad got out the car. He went up to that car. He broke their windows, and broke their rear view windows and everything. Yeah, cause my dad, he got so. He was like, "What the heck? Like I can't believe this happened." You know?
Yeah, Bosnians, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of premonition, I had the creepiest thing I've ever seen was so growing up.
Dark now.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Like growing up, like with seeing the faces and everything, I didn't know what it was, and I felt like a lot of people didn't know what astral projection was until the movie Insidious came out. When Insidious came out, I watched it.
That movie still creeps me out to this day.
To add on to what you're saying, once that movie came out, everything that I would experience in my life was like through that movie.
Yeah.
Because do you remember they had one ghost? It was the tall guy with the trench coat. It was the big guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's that guy that I seen before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was crazy, man.
Yeah, I think when that movie came out,
It's a good movie, by the way. But
yeah, it's a great movie. I've seen all of them. They don't scare me anymore because like I feel like they do a pretty good job depicting what it's like in that realm. Because like the book I was writing, it was called Blue Tint, because like I felt like when you're in an astral plane, everything seems to have like this blue tint to it. Like everything is dark, but you can still see everything.
Like in the movie. The movie had a little blue fog.
They had the little lantern that they held and everything. So after that movie came out, I was like, man, somebody stole my idea. Like I was like, that's my experience. But then I did digging into it. I'm like, yo, this is more common.
There's just a lot of people, they refuse to speak about it because they think like, oh, I'm the only one, I must be crazy.
Well, no, but if you open up about things like this, people they don't believe you, or they think you're crazy. Imagine telling your parents this, they're probably like, oh, this kid, we gotta take him to like psychotherapy or something.
Well, here's the thing: in America, if your kid says like, "Oh, I see ghosts," what do? We put them in psych wards.
Yeah.
In Asia, we take them to temples.
Yeah.
And then they get cleansed, they get blessed, and then they kind of learn like where they are spiritually, kind of thing, and what they believe in. So it's just a different take on the same thing, But anyways, going back to it. After Insidious, I did a ton of research on myself and on the subject of astral projection, sleep paralysis, and basically, I felt like I had years of experience or years of knowledge on it just from like doing research and stuff. But again, I've never once attempted to astral project, so I'm not the type to like go out looking for it. And up until then, like I think I was like. At the time, I think I was 21, 22, and I hadn't astral project for like 5-6 years kind of thing. Like it hadn't happened to me since. And here I am. I come home from college kind of thing. My parents are out of the country. My brother's at home. So it's just me and my brother. We chill, and then we go to sleep. That night, I woke up standing in my room, and just like that. When I astral project, it's the same thing that happens to me every time. I'm always in my room, and I just wake up standing up, either on the bed, above the bed, or standing next to the bed. And in this case, I'm standing next to the bed, and you feel wide awake, like how you are here. Like you have your full train of thought, you have all your memories and everything.
What is going on? Do you guys?
It's mad creepy right now.
Okay. But it's because of the music.
But yeah, so I wake up and I'm standing next to my bed, and I turn and I see myself asleep. Here I am, 21, 22-year-old Jason. I see myself asleep. I have my full head, all my knowledge, and I'm just like, yo, it's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
You had full consciousness.
Like I feel like how I am.
Recollection of everything, but you were just in a whole different
whole new realm kind of thing.
That's crazy.
And
but to be fair, I'm taking back to the scriptures. In the Bible, it says when we die, even if you go to hell or wherever you go, you have full recollection of everything.
Yep.
So you remember your family, you remember all that. So that's very true.
Yeah. Because your spirit,
now,
like
if
your
you
soul,
looked at your hand, were you like physical?
When I look at my hands, it's like, again, everything has a blue tint to it. So like I looked kind of ghostly in a sense, but I didn't look like dead, if that makes any sense. Like I still like
spirit.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like something is off, because like usually when I had those I would think they were dreams at first. I would always go to the light switch and try to flip on the lights, but in that realm there is no electricity, so there's no lights. You can't turn on the lights. You can check your phone. You can pick up your phone, but it doesn't work. It's just a brick. And I remember and then I went into the bathroom to look at my reflection. There is no reflection because you can't see your soul in the reflection. But I already knew all this, I was like, that night I did like a checklist. Like I was like, I want to check these things off real quick, kind of see if it's real. I went in my brother's room, saw him asleep, and the reason why I believe it is real is because one time I did astral project, but my parents and my sisters hadn't gone to sleep yet, and they were downstairs having dinner, and I was supposed to be asleep. And I went down there thinking that I was awake, and I sat next to them.
And they didn't see you.
I was talking to them, and they never replied.
Oh my god.
And then the next day, I asked my sister, I'm like, last night, did you guys like have like a family dinner like later when you guys came home? Like, yeah, how'd you know? Like, I was like, oh,
I was right there with y'all.
Never mind. But that's what would happen if people are like awake and you astral project kind of thing. They just can't see you. But when you're astral projecting on your own in an empty house kind of thing, or just like you're completely astral projecting, normally there is no lights or anything because it doesn't work in that realm. But I remember I like every time I astral project, I don't leave my house. People that like, they're like, oh, I astral project, or I know how to do it, or I do it every night kind of thing, they're like, oh, like I leave my house, blah blah blah. That's not very good, because
you can get caught.
Yeah, because like the further you go away from your body, your vessel, the tether between your soul and your vessel becomes weaker.
Yeah.
So like you want to stay as close to your body as possible.
Yes.
You got people that like, you know, they talk about astral projection like, oh, and then I astral project to the moon, and then I'm just like, I don't know, like
I don't think that's true.
I don't know like how that would feel, or like, you know, because like from my own experience, I've never left my house, too afraid to even leave my own house on all the occasions. But anyways, that night I checked off everything on my checklist, and I'm like, yo, I am astral projecting, like this is nuts. And so I checked the whole upstairs of my house, didn't see anything, and I hear something downstairs, and at this point in my mind I'm like, I wish I had more light, you know, kind of thing. And at that moment, right away, like this beam of light came out from my hand. So I'm like walking down the stairs like this, and it's just like a light beam just kind of like coming on my hands, you know. And I go downstairs, and I turn to the left, which is my dining room. And in my dining room, there's a cutout of my kitchen, a cutout doorway to my kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting, no, I'm not sitting, I'm standing on the end of the dining room table. I'm looking right through. And I shit you not, I see like this 7-foot, 8-foot Grim Reaper, like so tall.
I was just about to ask you, have you seen any beings in that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I typically don't see like scary things.
Did you
in
see a
them.
face or?
So it was about 7-8 feet tall, so tall that it was too tall for my kitchen. So it was hunched over kind of thing, because his back couldn't, like his head would hit the ceiling, and he was reaching for something in my sink, which was really weird. And I'm like over there like, whoa, what the heck is that? And I'm shining my light at it, and it turns its head, and it's literally pure darkness. Like the light that was coming out of my hand hits the face, and the black darkness just like absorbs the light kind of thing. And at that moment, I've never felt...
It's like a powerful thing.
I've never felt more scared in my life. I felt like this pit of fear, and it just kept growing and growing. And I remember looking at the thing, and as my fear grew, I watched this thing get bigger and bigger. And it was like kind of like coming... It moved in like slow motion kind of thing, like really slow. And then it reached its hand out, and you can see like a black skeleton kind of hand with like this black energy coming off of it. And he's pointing his finger at me, and he's getting closer and closer and closer. And I remember like at this point, like the light from my hand is barely even showing kind of thing. I'm terrified. And I remember thinking like, you know, like what the fuck, like I'm supposed to be blessed by dragons, you know, kind of thing.
Like, you're like, what's going on?
And like in my mind, I'm just like, yo, like bro, like I had people try to save me in real life, and my life has been, but I'm like, where is my spiritual protection now, you know, kind of thing. And at that very moment, the light that was shining out of my hands, I watched it just climb over and start to highlight my entire body. So it started with my hands just lit up in gold, like a gold outline kind of thing. It reached over and covered my whole body, and I felt warm. Like I felt really warm.
You felt safe.
Yeah. And then I saw this Grim Reaper, and it kind of like backed up, and it shrank a little bit. And I remember thinking like, you need to wake up. You need to wake up. Like, you need to wake up right now. And at that moment, I felt myself just like compress into like a ball of light. And I immediately just like went for the stairs, and I felt myself just like zoom up. Like I felt like the Flash. And I just like, went up, and right then and then, like I went up into my body, I woke up at that exact moment, and I heard a crash in my kitchen. Some dishes fell over in the sink.
Whoa.
And I was like, bro,
insane.
I just remembered I went and I turned on some lights, and I couldn't sleep for like 2 days.
That's crazy, yo.
But a lot of people don't realize that, like they didn't realize that like I moved, like I got out and I moved out of Atlanta and everything, and I moved up north to start a whole new business venture and everything, people thought that I was like money hungry.
Yeah.
A lot. Like I have friends to this day that's still like, oh, Jason left because he's just money hungry. He'll go wherever the money is, blah blah, stuff like that. Well, the fact is, for 2 years when I was up there, I didn't make any money. Like I bartended, I did like, you know, random stuff, and I was getting mentored, you know, from my family, and they didn't realize that the main reason I left, I didn't tell anybody, but the main reason why I left was because that night I saw death.
You came too close.
And he pointed at me.
You came too close.
And I felt like that was a sign, because at the time I was working for a nightclub. We got shot at. There were fights that happened. You know, it was a really sketchy place to work. But I felt like something was trying to tell me, like, if you keep going down this road, death will find you.
Yeah, for sure.
And I took that to heart, and within 2 weeks I packed all my stuff and I moved to a different city.
That's crazy.
You know, and then now I'm back. But yeah, you know,
I'm about to trip you out, man. So
trip me out.
When I was like, I say I probably was 19. You know, my past, you know, I'm a recovering drug addict. I've done it all, bro. So this was like towards the end of it. This was when I was rock bottom, man. I was doing coke every night, bro. Sleepless nights, man. So I remember I was on my computer chair and I had probably like 2 friends over. It was probably like 3 in the morning. We're doing some blow, you know what I mean? We probably haven't slept in like 2 days. So I'm sleep deprived. I just remember just sitting back. They're watching movies right here. The TV's right there. My doorway was right here. We're at my dad's house, mind you, the same place. And I'm just looking and I see an apparition just pop out of nowhere. It's a Grim Reaper.
Yep.
About 7 feet tall. But it's like halfway in this dimension and halfway in the other. So I could only see half of it. And it was black cloak, face, you can tell there was a face, but like you said, it was so dark.
So dark.
And it was pointing at me, bro.
Yeah.
It was like this. And like, I was literally like, ah! Like I jumped, I grabbed a pillow and I threw it. Yep. So my boys were like, yo, bro, you tweaking. And I'm like, do you see this right now? Because as I'm talking to them,
he's still there.
He's still there, just like floating, just pointing at me. And they're like, no, what do you see? I was like, it's the fucking Grim Reaper, dog. And they're like, yo, you tweaking, bro. Like, we about to cut you off right now. And then it just went away. And like, that was like, same thing you did. Like after I was like, all right, I think I'm tweaking, whatever it is. And then the next day I just remember I was like, you know what? If I keep going down this way, I'm going to eventually die. Yeah. And that was scary, bro. Like I literally seen it just pop up in front of me. You know what I mean? It could have been because I was sleep deprived. You know, you tend to hallucinate. I was doing a lot of drugs. Yep. But I saw what I saw and I got the message. And I started slowly changing after that. You know what I mean? So
but you know,
it's crazy that we have similar experiences, man. Yeah. That gave me the goosebumps, man.
But you know when you're like in different, you know when they call alcohol like spirits, you know, like you've heard that like before, like when you.
Like when you're addict?
No.
Like, the spirit of addiction, the spirit of...
No. Like, people call alcohol a spirit. Like,
Oh, like wine and spirit
wine,
kind of
spirits
thing.
And stuff like that. You know, so when you're, like, in different consciousness and stuff, like, you kind of can see or sense different things. Or, like, or, you know, like, the spiritual realm does kind of control, like, the physical realm. That
I feel like, especially if you're like us, like, we're prone to paranormal stuff. Like, we're a little more sensitive, a little heightened senses, I guess you would say.
Yeah. But there's things that you don't like.
Stuff, you kind of see into something else.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like you go in different consciousness, you know, so you can kind of sense different things or see different things. But I definitely do think like the spiritual realm, the stuff that we cannot see, really does like control like the physical realm, you know.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of stuff that.
And there is like you said, like the forces of like darkness, and then there's like forces of light too.
But
that
you got to be protected.
You know, you have to be, and when you like. Do things like that when you're in the wrong environment and stuff, and that energy is so dark there, you know, like it can really affect somebody.
When I changed my life and gave myself to God like completely and let go of alcohol and drugs and everything, like I just had vivid dreams, man. And it was all the dreams would be at my dad's house, because that was my stomping ground, that was my playground. That's where I was doing all my dirt, I was doing all the stuff over there. And I vividly remember I was on, like, I just had I would say it's like a vision, bro, because it feels so real, bro. I was on top of my dad's roof. And like I just remember there was like 3 owl type creatures flying around, like, but they were big. They were like 7 feet, and then like they're swooping down to come at me, and I see their face. Like they have like a skull looking face, and when they screamed, it was a screech, but their mouths would open up like that. And every time they would come down to me, they would get hit with like a barrier. It would be like a golden barrier. And then I looked down at myself and I was radiating gold, like you said. Yep. And like I had a staff too. I was just like, whoa. And then they would keep circling and keep coming at me, and I'm looking at them like they can't get to me, and they're pissed off.
Yep.
That like
That you're protected.
I
You're
took
protected,
it like
yeah.
because I would say like back to what you said, like I feel like maybe those were the spirits that were controlling me, the spirit of addiction,
Yep.
all the bad stuff, and I gave my life to God, and I was protected now. I took that as a sign, and I woke up like, ooh, yeah, I'm protected, dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I woke up feeling super good.
Yeah.
Like yeah, man. It was a dope vision, I guess you would say.
Yeah, when when you have like recollection of yourself being protected and stuff, and you like physically see yourself being blessed.
Yeah,
and
for
that
sure.
that mentality is really good for your mentality. Like you feel very strong up here because you feel like there is some
Spiritually protected.
something protecting
Yeah.
you that you can't
But
explain.
you can't take advantage of it.
You can't take advantage
Can't
of
test
it,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something that like, oh, I'm gonna go get hit by a car real
Yeah.
quick, see if I'm
Let me
protected.
see.
you know?
Stop.
Yeah. It is what it is, right?
No,
But-
Tam's dad gonna be breaking the windows and everything.
Yeah.
Bless me now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like so many people get it mixed up. Like you even think about like some of these serial killer cases, right?
Yeah.
And these like psychotic serial killers, and they're like, oh, like I heard the voices talking to me, you know,
Yeah.
or like,
Yeah.
And I feel like some of that is bad energy spirits, kind of thing, whispering, because again, like these things will do whatever it takes to taste life.
Yeah,
for
sure.
It's like a spirit is just a lingering energy source that's barely
And
there.
they'll follow you.
Yeah.
Like they'll follow you
follow
into
you,
your
for
home,
sure. Yeah.
into like sometimes your body. Like it's bizarre, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand. Like they are around us 24/7.
Exactly,
Like
yeah.
they're on a different dimension that's on our dimension that we
Yeah.
can't see. And that goes back to the sixth sense.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, like in Buddhism we believe that people are born with an extra scent. And the scent of seeing ghosts is the strong. That means your third eye is completely open.
Yeah.
And you're very spiritually connected. But some people see it as a curse, while others see it as
It's
like
a blessing or
the biggest blessing and gift of them
Yeah.
all. I know for sure I can't see ghosts, like
Yeah.
even though the name of my podcast is I See
I see
Ghosts.
ghosts.
Yeah.
But for me it's more of like a feeling. Like when something bad's about to happen,
you can
I get
feel
like
it.
this like dying feeling, like something. It doesn't feel like a stomach
Me
ache.
too, bro.
It just feels like I feel heavy hearted, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then normally something bad does happen.
Yeah,
you know?
I get that feeling when I'm in a place I shouldn't be, and I feel like
Yep.
something's about to happen. And a lot of times when I get that feeling, I take myself out of the situation.
Yep.
And something happened. Like would be like, for example, would be like at a club. I start sensing something. I'm like, yo, let's get out of here. Something's about to go down. Next thing you know, we find out the next day it was a shootout at the club
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that. You know what I mean? And I also get that feeling when I meet somebody that's not a good person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I literally had one time when we went to Disney World, like I just had that feeling. I was at the checkout desk, I was checking in, and I just had that feeling like I wanted to throw up. I felt so sick out of nowhere, and like I couldn't make eye contact with the receptionist. And when he gave me his hand, I saw the pentagram on his like a tattoo.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of tattoo, probably a bunch of wicked stuff and stuff
Yep.
like that. And then like I just grabbed it and left.
Yep.
And like I had the feeling before I even like saw that.
Yeah.
I just had the feeling like, oh man, I gotta throw up, man. And then like
Yeah.
my wife was like, yo, what happened? I was like, man, I don't even know. Like for real, I couldn't make eye
You
contact with
sensed
that guy.
something,
Yeah, I
yeah.
sensed something dark.
Yeah. I remember New Year's 2 years back. I was at my my cousin's place, and it was a karaoke bar kind of thing, and then we were just there celebrating New Year. And on New Year's you typically stay until like 2 to 3, if you're
Yeah.
partying kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It was like 12:31ish, and I was like, yo, it's time to go. Like I was like, for some reason,
I said
like,
Happy New Year. I gotta
yeah,
bounce.
but I'm normally one of those, like, I'm not a party pooper. I normally stay for quite a bit. But that night, for some reason, I was like, yeah, like, I'm like, you guys feeling kind of dead? I'm like, yeah, me too. Let's just head out. We leave. 30 minutes after I left, there was a fight and a shootout in front of the karaoke bar.
Wow.
And someone went to their car and got like an assault rifle, came back and shot up the club.
What the
And
Dang.
I literally left like 30-45 minutes before that. I didn't find out till 2-3 days later, and that's
Wow.
when they were like,
You start
yo,
realizing like, whoa, I got that
Yeah.
feeling. Like that gut feeling will never lie to you, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's never lying to me,
Yeah.
besides when I'm picking cryptos,
Man.
that it don't work over there,
Nah.
but
But yo, my bad, guys. I got a client downstairs waiting for me.
no, you're
man.
good. Thank you for having
Thank
this
you so
podcast.
much.
Yeah.
This was dope,
Yeah.
man. I
Thank-
appreciate you, yo.
This is cool.
Y'all gonna
Yeah.
keep going or?
No, we're good. They say podcasts are only growing. You know,
I believe that.
I saw how Eric just, got up and decided to do a podcast and did it.
He
you
just
know,
did it. He
he
does
just
that.
did it.
This is who
and
he is, though. That's what he does.
well, that's great. It's he's a doer.
He's annoying.
Yeah,
That's what he
I'm a
is.
doer too. So that's why I was like, I just need to put it together, get it done, put it out there, and see how everyone reacts to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not gonna be like other podcasts are scripted and stuff. I had my
I don't like that.
I had my notes, and it was literally like a quote, and then it had a quote, and then it said, "Do you believe in ghosts, lucid dreams, astral projection, religion?" That's it. And the quote is, there's an Arabic saying that goes, "You want to die? Then throw yourself in the sea, and you'll see yourself fighting to survive." You do not want to kill yourself. Rather, you want to kill something that's inside of you.
That's pretty awesome.
That's pretty deep.
That is pretty deep. You
Yeah.
don't make me think about that. Somebody was high. I hope you heard that. Get high and listen to that again. You're going to believe that shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Friends. But I have been surrounded by some pretty toxic people in certain points in my life.
That's tough.
And you see it right away. Once you cut out the cancer and it's gone, you feel completely different. Your life goes in a different direction. And not saying that person, that individual person, is the root of
It's
all
the
your
energy.
problem,
It's that energy.
but it influences you.
It does.
You know,
That toxic
and
energy.
that some people don't even like. I feel like the toxic people are the type of people that are like, they can't self-criticize.
No, they don't want to take blame for anything.
Yeah,
They're always the victim.
They're always a victim, so
Bullshit.
it's something to watch out for, because they always come at you like Bambi, the weak. They seem like a innocent, weak little deer, but eventually they turn out to be something else.
I see through that shit quick.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it now,
And I'm
but
real good at it.
you occasionally get caught off guard.
I haven't been caught off guard in about, I'm going to say about 10, 15 years. Don't
Dang.
play with me.
You 10 for 10?
Fucking right.
10 for
Don't
10.
play with me with that. I know I can spot energy.
Yep.
I'm like, no, I don't have time for that shit. That's
Yeah.
why the gym is the way it is.
Yeah.
We got the way this gym works, our gym, to my Muscle City barbell, by the way. The way it works here is that there's good energy here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's not about black, white, none of that. It's the energy.
Yep.
We feed off of that.
Yep.
And we're all right here for each other. I love that shit.
Eric gets some new equipment in. We're all just like, yo.
All
Like,
excited.
everyone's like, yo, so like, are we gonna unload this now? And it's like, you don't need movers. Like, you got a bunch of,
Yeah, you
five.
got all these. What do you mean?
you-
You better get these big ass boys in here and
Yep.
do some shit.
You got
Don't do
you
that.
got 5 strong men right here, and they'll get it done for free.
Exactly. That's the
know?
way I do it. As soon as some big shit come in here, where y'all at? Come help me. I'll text everybody, bring their ass in here, or they're gonna
Yep.
get cussed out one or two.
Yep. Some people will take their work break and come over here just to help.
That's
you know?
right. That's family.
That's
That's what
family.
we're supposed to do.
No. And I nowadays we're more connected than ever because of technology. But from like a one-on-one standpoint, like actually communicating one-on-one, people are terrible at it nowadays. They can't sit down and have a discussion with someone face to face. It's all about social media and talking online.
I don't have time for that.
That's really what's destroying discussion in this country.
I agree.
Because if more people were to just sit down, tell their stories and have, talks face to face, you wouldn't have all these little Twitter wars going around, That's,
Childish behavior.
yeah.
Just juvenile for no reason.
Yep. Cut. I'm good there.
Yay! We got lost. I'm sorry. I get caught up in a whole
Nah,
bunch
that's
of
good.
shit.